This is how I create a pattern mashup between Carol and Taylor from Children's Corner. So we're going to start by lining up Taylor at the fold line of Carol, just to understand how this mashup will work. So you'll notice the neckline folds up really well. Sorry, I didn't press my pattern pieces. We'll use the arm size, shoulder, and neck of the Carol pattern, but the length from the Taylor pattern. Carol is a little bit longer, but that's because that hem allowance is in there. So the first step we're going to take, and we're going to trace our Carol pattern piece from arm side to shoulder, across, and the neckline. Then we'll stop. Okay, so you can see I have placed my piece of tissue paper on top of the Carol front and traced from the arm side. I also made a little notch where the edge of the pattern side seam starts. Up around over the shoulder and through the neckline, and I did go all the way down the fold line to the bottom. I did this for a couple of reasons. One, I wanted to have a straight edge where the fold is going to be so that I can keep the grain line straight. You'll notice I did this in pen. That was probably not the best idea. I should have done it in pencil because my pattern did shift underneath the tissue paper. But I've got those lines marked out with X's so that I know not to cut those. And then once the pattern is cut out, it'll be okay, but it may be best to do it in pencil and not pen. Next, we're gonna take the Taylor front and overlay the side seams. And then we'll come down and do the side seam, the leg, and the crotch. So in this view, it's going to be very important to line up the Taylor front fold with the fold of the Carol view at the view A line. That way the side seam lines up with the side seam of Carol. You'll notice there is a slight, very slight difference in the pattern there, but it shouldn't make much of a difference in the overall measurements. That's probably less than a 1/16 of an inch. And so you can see just a little bit how the Taylor pattern that is underneath my white tissue and the Carol pattern, Taylor, it's a little bit of a gap here. We need this though, because that is the extra width that we're going to use from Taylor to create the leg casing. I will start with the bottom of the crotch measurement, being sure to keep that fold line square. And then I will come around the leg casing and then go back up to the arm. Okay, so this is the new pattern piece for the mashup for the front. We'll move on to the back following basically the same steps. Okay, so for the back piece, I'm gonna line up the fold line of the Carol and the fold line of the Taylor rompers. And then matching this, the arm size seam as well. So you'll notice that the Taylor bubble is actually just slightly longer at the bottom. And then the top, you'll notice that the shoulder lines are way different. We're not going to use the shoulder lines for the Taylor. We're only going to use the arm side, shoulder, and neck for the Carol, and then we'll use the side seam, leg, and crotch for the, and then the length of the back piece from the Taylor. Okay, so I have the arm side, shoulder, and neck, and the front fold marked. Next, I'm going to overlay Taylor, matching up the bottom of the arm side and keeping the front fold of both of those pattern pieces the same. and then finish marking off from the bottom of the crotch, across the leg casing, and down the side seam. Okay, now I have my new pattern piece. I'm going to cut out both, and then we're going to check to make sure the side seams are actually the same. So this is the pattern back cut out. You'll notice I didn't mention, but we need to mark 8 inches down from the back a dot. That's going to be a slit line to make our placket for the back, because since this is not going to button in the back, we're going to need to be able to create a continuous bound placket around the back piece. Okay, so the next step is to just double check to make sure your pattern pieces side seam lengths are exactly the same. These line up very well, and so I know now that when I stitch that, both the bottom of the arm side and the top of the leg casing will be in the correct spots. One other thing you can check is that the shoulder seams are also the same as well. Okay, so for the rest of the pieces, we're only going to need the instruction sheet from Taylor. You'll need to get the how-to from Taylor for the leg casings, for the elastic measurement length, and we're going to do the bottom of the crotch just a little bit different from Taylor since this is lined. I know Carol is not lined, Taylor is, so you're going to cut 2 back pieces and 2 front pieces, 1 each out of your main fabric and 1 each from your lining fabric. And from Carol, you're going to use the sleeves and the collar. If you're not doing the collar, the neckband, and any trim. You will mostly follow the Carol instructions with some